close my eyes a lot when I'm giving adjustments. I listen to the music a lot when I'm giving adjustments. And I think about what I would want or what feels good and how you can make this the best experience possible for your student. So we'll begin in child's pose. So creating space, but you want to give your student the opportunity to get into their own child's pose. There's nothing you're going to force here. There's literally nothing you need to change their alignment, because whatever their child's pose looks like, that's what their body is. A couple things to avoid, which I've noticed a lot of us are doing, because it still feels good and your student's never going to complain about it, but when you start moving towards their upper back, that just means you're smushing their nose into the floor and they probably can't breathe. But it still feels really good because you're massaging their upper back, so they're not going to complain about it. But just be really, really aware of it, that that's most likely what you're doing. You know, you come around here, but when you're right here, like that's all going down into her nose, into her face. And it still feels okay because you're massaging her back, but she's not breathing that well. So when you're working on the thighs, you're just like an external rotation. You're just creating more space for her torso to sink closer towards the floor. Feels really good to come all the way down. It always feels good to touch people's knees, and a lot of us will neglect that, but like circling the knees, yeah, tell me what feels good. So like pay attention to people's kneecaps, they're gonna be sensitive, so there's nothing like, it's all just like, this is all just feel good in child's pose. So you can come back up onto the thighs and creating space before you apply pressure down. Always creating length, always like removing, yeah. Somebody walk in? Yeah. Thank you.
Will somebody lock the door, please?
Yeah, I think Jane's on it. So I had a few things, like I'm still going to say, yes, massaging people's feet are great. The whole stepping on the feet, I'm a little wary about right now, just because you have to remember that there's a lot of delicate bones in people's feet. So when you are stepping on them, you don't know like if that person has any feet injury or what's up with their toes or anything. So just be like pretty mindful of pressure, especially like older people. Not massaging with your hands, but like when I talked about stepping on feet in child's pose, just make sure that you're aware of it. So massaging the feet's always really good. And just remember like your body language, like it's nice to be on the knees with her. A lot of times we will like this because you can still engage with the rest of the class. That's good too. The arms, which I know a lot of you have done, is really nice. You can always come from this direction. You can do the hands. You can come here. How's my butt shot? Come here. Same idea. You're just coming from a different direction. It's just a matter of like time. It's like, you know, depending on where you are in the room. How's this feel?
That's awesome. So you're really getting to the picture.
Yeah, you have a little bit more body weight to use from this side as well. But you have to always consider when you're doing your adjustments what it looks like to the rest of your class. You know, like my butt's wide up in the air. Like I know it sounds stupid, but you do need to think about it. You know?
I just wanted to show the camera that angle.
Yeah. Thanks. Yes.
One thing about pregnancies with this that I've noticed in my experience is that as my belly's gotten bigger, like I could like pretty much fit it between my legs, like no problem, but if you're applying a lot of pressure to the lower back, sometimes it makes it hard to breathe because it pushes on our stomach. I don't know if she's having any problems with that.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, if you put too much pressure on the hips in that pose, it really like cuts up the balls and they can breathe. It feels great though, so I never say anything, but
Okay, so yeah, with pregnant people, you want to be aware, but you also want to make sure they're giving you adjustments because they deserve it too. So yes, thank you. So feet, hips, shoulders, hands, be aware of too much pressure so that I'm not squishing your face. The neck is wonderful, creating space, pulling her towards you, creating space for her neck rather than applying pressure down. Then she'll shift forward into tabletop. It was nice, we could hang out there.
Fallon,
Yeah.
can I ask you mamas what does feel good for you guys, like when you're in child's, like what's the best thing for you?
I love it when people press on my thigh.
A little bit of a hug here, but you want to also make sure there's enough space for her to move. So she's going to be going completely with my alignment cues until I say take all your organic crap. But until then, I'm following her, but she's listening to my words. So we're kind of like on the same exact page. So I'm just like rolling her shoulders back. You can also reach forward. It feels so good to touch the pecs, which a lot of people don't. Like, so spreading, just like tension through the collarbones. And then you roll your fingers down so that it's already here when you tell her to coil in. And it's just like a light lift. You want to make sure you're not at her belly. You want to make sure you're not gripping her boobs. It's the rib cage. And then she cycles. And you just follow her breath. Now she's guiding you, you know? And I like to trace the shoulder blades so that you're here. My biggest thing when I'm giving adjustments is I don't like to leave the body. You know, once my hands are on her, I want to be with her. But that's just like a Thai thing, like Thai go-go massage. You don't have to do that. You know, you could come from A to B, B to A, but it also feels nice to trace, you know, in a non-creepy way. Broaden the collarbones. Exhale, coil in. And I'll continue. Now I'll begin to flow with your breath, and at that time, I'm gonna walk away. But see how I was like, I knew the timing. I already picked out my student that I was gonna go do that to. So it was like really on time and on point. So it wasn't like I'm like, okay, now we're gonna move through cat-cat. And you know, you have to stand this awkward, like she's like, what's this chick doing? And so just like be mindful of your timing when you approach her. Okay, and then she's gonna come into her high plank. And these would just be a couple things, you know. You want the heels high, using the pointer, these two fingers, just as like pressure points, you know, to press her feet forward. And then, you know, when you're telling them to get strong in the legs, like squeeze your calves, your thigh bones. And like, you're actually talking the whole class though. And then, you know, the action of pulling your shoulder blades back, chin away from the heart, just something right here. But when you're giving that adjustment, you're talking to them also. Because if you just do this to someone, she's not going to know what you mean. But if you say, take your chin away from your chest, and you go like that, and kind of pull back. And then something just like gets strong on your upper back. You press your back into my palm is a really good cue to do there. You're not doing anything, you're just there. You're just present. And then downward facing dog. Just coming up, spreading the fingers, rotating your outer armpits in, things, drawing your chest towards the top of your thighs. I'm not pushing her, I mean I'm barely, but just as like, these are all just like directional things that I'm talking to my student. I'm giving everyone alignment cues that I'm present with this student. And then the couple ones that we went over. This one's really, really good. I think it looks really sexual. You have to have like at least 5 breaths because you want to be really mindful as you get on here. So again, I'm applying length and back. I'm definitely not pushing down. I'm applying length and back. And if you use your body weight on her, it feels really good sometimes. You can let me know if it doesn't. How's that feel?
It's good. Definitely a deep stretch for the calves.
Yeah. Because I'm putting all my body weight on her right now.
See, but so your body weight is going up.
Yeah, I'm like pushing like that, like into my feet, so I'm not collapsing on her. Like I'm pushing into my toes.
You're like working with her.
Yeah, and I'm using my pelvic bone like I'm about to hump her when I come up. I'm gonna make sure that I use my hands. I'm using my pelvic bone because that feels good on her chest, towards her thighs. And then I come up. It just looks kind of sexual, doesn't it?
See, I feel like for me that's just gonna be a no-no.
You're not gonna do that. Jill said something about this yesterday, but this one is like pretty invasive. You know, a lot of people have their feet closer. You can't be like, excuse me, let me in. You know? So you're only gonna do this adjustment to people who like know.
Can you call the better Irene?
Oh yeah. So you're creating space, internal rotation of the, alright, shut up. Mild pressure. Massaging the calves is really, really nice. You don't want to force her heels onto the floor, but that's the goal. I mean, that's where she's going. But you're not going to put her heels on the floor. They're not supposed to go in there. And then, you know, if she has a soft bend in the knees, you're totally not forcing anything. You guys have done this one, interlacing the fingers. Hug in with the elbows and the biceps. And again, length. And then you can pull. How's that?
Good.
Do you want more?
Yeah.
What's going to be like the 2 different, like coming from that side, coming from this side, or is it going to be 2 different?
The intention's always going to be you're lengthening the spine. The intention's always going to be the same and creating space in her lower back. So I just don't want to push down on her. So I'm like pulling up and back towards me. And then the other one, just like here, doing this to people feels good. But not too much. These are all just like spacious things. You know, you're not fixing anything. It's just like a feel-good thing. And that's when someone told me that, I mean, just made me aware of it. Just like, so you can still do that to like young people who you know. But another really good one, your hands are on their calves and just like kind of dragging back. I'm just like pulling her heels towards me. So inhale, upward facing dog. She lifts up. And then exhale, she comes down to the floor and I release her heels. Let's try one more time. Inhale, my student lifts up.
Aim for my
We're just some baby cobra babe. It's cute. Baby cobra hun. There she is. There she goes. Okay. So and then I'm listening to her and I go, I'm teaching this class. So like exhale, release your chest to the floor. I'm releasing her heels so she has the space. Right? And then the other one, and so you know, I want her heels in. I want her, she's rooting into the tops of her feet. So that's what I'm helping with. I'm pulling her heels towards one another and just dragging it slightly back, giving her some leverage to pick up her heart. And then exhale, soften to the ground. The other really nice one is just pressure here. I did this to you, didn't I? I don't know.
I liked it.
So I'm just lengthening her tailbone and keeping it grounded so that she has that leverage to get a little bit higher. So I'm applying pressure towards me and barely down. Mostly just towards me. And then exhale, soften. As she softens, I give her the leeway. Like I will apply pressure one more time. Inhale, length. Exhale to release. Like my arms are firing because I'm using a lot of strength there to hold her in place. And then exhale, downward facing dog. So ragdoll is all about just like making sure their head's heavy because people have no idea. A lot of times their head heavy means like, yeah, I'm relaxing. So, you know, just talking to that student, being really present with them, like actually like bending down here, talking to them, just relax your head and like whispering to them. And just giving that neck massage. You can also do the same one that you're going to do in gorilla. And the same thing, when you come up to them, you know, your toes are going to appear in their eyesight. So just really slowly walking forward. And then find my feet.
Do you want me to be on my hands?
Sure, you can do that. You can also do it in ragdoll, so same. So she sees my feet, I present my legs, so I'm like, here I am. If you don't know the student, this is a good one to be like, is it okay if I adjust you in this? Because otherwise they're not going to trust. I mean, they will, but just to create that relationship. So I'm using my palms for sure, no fingers. And I'm I'm lengthening here, so I'm bringing energy towards me and up at the same time. And I'm verbally telling my student that she can lean into me as much as she wants, but you have to make sure that you feel really strong. Like I could literally support her forever here. But yeah, it's hard for her to trust me and know that, but I'm like, dude, I don't feel anything yet. So that's a really good one. You have to make sure you're not using your fingers because you're in their crotch. And just like up and towards you. But you have to be sure that you are strong here, you know. If you're like out here and you're like, I got you, there you go, not gonna work. They have to feel your legs, and it's gonna be different on every body. Sometimes I'll be like this, you know, depending on the height. Sometimes I'm just like with Jill, we're a perfect match. Like, I got her all day. And then I like to come down. I just like to do this. Give her a little back massage while I'm here. And then when I'm about to step away, I'm like, step your hands out from underneath your feet. I don't leave her until she steps her hands out from underneath her feet. Because she's so off balance and she trusts me. Like right now, her whole body is in my hands. So I like wait until she's ready to depart and then I depart. She's not ready to depart, but I am. Okay, there she goes. So I would have stayed with her that whole time. And then mountain pose, you guys know. Samasthiti heave, hands to her heart. You're all doing it so cute, little shoulder massage. So adorbs, right? You know, there's nothing really wrong you can do here. Anything, but just probably the neck is really good.
I have a question about this adjustment.
Yeah.
A lot of the times people are in Tadasana for extended amounts of time when they're setting intention.
Yeah.
Do you think that we should leave them alone while they're creating that energy for themselves, or is that a good time to go in and start?
See, yes, you bring up a good point, but I'm just like applying, it's just like barely there pressure. You just want them to know that you're there, and just as you say the words, relax your shoulders, you know, just so they can feel it. And then they're creating length, you know, so you can do a little bit of a length and a lift, but you want to let them explore for the most part. you want them to knit their ribs in. So if you see someone like this, just like give them a little bit of a length here. And then, yeah, shoulders soft, strong legs. She's strong. And you could talk to someone, you could be like, like strong core, lengthen through your tailbone, strong core, something like that. If you're saying that, that could be like a really easy adjustment to do. And then bowing forward, she melts. I can be with her the whole time. Then inhale for length, tracing her whole spine. Make sure the back of her neck is long too, which it really is. And then at the same time, exhale, fold. So these are just the creepy fingers that you're gonna do. But like, yeah, just tracing one vertebra, like with your finger, with your whole hand hard. But if you stay here with your big toes up so that she can't go all the way down. I'm here and I told her
yesterday?
halfway.
Right, yesterday?
Yeah. So I stopped her there so she knows not to go all the way down. And then when we're doing this one, walking up, make sure again you're not here. It's nice to do the rotation, but just being here present so that they know that you're not going to pull them all the way back. It's just like a safety thing and like a sense of security. Like, oh, there are her knees. I know that she's not going to try and force this to be a bigger back than it's supposed to be. That's a good one. If you don't have the time to straddle her, just being here and wrapping her shoulders back is really nice. Again, don't neglect the front of her pectoral muscles. It's really, really nice just to like do like a spread your collarbone and shoulders back. What else is good?
I took John's class this morning, so I'm like beat.
Oh, sorry.
I'm white.
Maybe Kelsey will.
No, I'm good, but.
So that was forward facing dog. Yeah, the shoulders is going to be the big thing. People are going to be like this, shoulders down, shoulders back, pressing her heart forward. And then yeah, like you guys have done this one with using your knees just so they have the support. And if you're to the side, you're just barely applying pressure, just like wrapping her shoulders back. Then downward facing dog. And then she comes into her low lunge. Inhale, right leg skyward. Exhale, step to the top of your mat. Place your left knee on the floor. Right knee above the ankle. Inhale, rise. And then, do we go to low lunge? No, we go to warrior. Who knows? Okay, so now warrior two.
Whoa. Okay.
So warrior two, which is like a really nice one to do. And it's really, really easy. If you think you're getting confused, look at her body and be like, how do I look like that? And then you just come and you do exactly that, but use your knee. But if you want it to cue to remember, be like, you want your shin to be parallel with hers. And from here, I'm using my body so she feels supported. And then I'm just encouraging her knee to open and her back thigh to open at the same time. And I want to make sure that I keep her grounded so I'm not pulling her out of her lunge, but I'm just holding her here in space. And it's going to be a lot of work for her. She's going to be like, all right, I'm over it. The other easy one, if you just come kneeling down, you're talking to your student, just pulling her calf towards you so that her knee stacks the ankle, but not making sure that you don't move it past. She touched it. It's good. And then when you're going to leave her, make sure that it's like you're intentional with your leave. Relaxing the shoulders, long arms, long torso, and then keep her grounded. And then reverse your warrior. She be so tired. Reverse your warrior. This is just an easy one. Using your palm on the calf, creating space here. That's kind of the lazy version, but you're kneeling down so you're present. The other one is the straddle. So I'm hugging pretty intensively. And I'm going to wrap my left arm behind her so that I don't force weight down. And I'm going to use this one to lengthen. I'm using the one closest to me to lengthen her side body. And then this one's just like creating space. I'm holding space for her. I'm going to tell her to relax her shoulder. You can do that verbally or with your hand. And here, and then when you're ready to move, she's going to extended side angle. So I'd step off, and then I'd follow her there.
Wait, this is for a video, right? That everyone's gonna watch?
I don't know if they made a video. I think she's taking pictures, right?
No, I'm videoing.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
So that means Kelsey's gonna be able to watch it. So that means she can step in.
Okay.
Watch it. Extend.
Yeah. I just want you to see like how I follow her. So I'm here, and then she's gonna transition. And if you're gonna stay with this student, I'm taking myself off and then telling you to extend into her side angle. And then I'm still touching her. You can come here and do that same straddle on the other leg. And then from here, it's just like a gentle twist rotation that you're creating, and you want to make sure there's space on the bottom and that you're not forcing anything down. So from here, I'm just going to wrap the top side of her rib cage skyward and encourage her right shoulder blade underneath her. But I'm also going to add a lot of length and lift. So I'm going to like actually be picking her up kind of. But she still has to work really, really hard, and she's working with me. I'm squeezing her left leg.
And this is really
Pretty
important.
Yeah, squeezing her left leg pretty hard so that she feels stable. And then when I am about to leave, she's going to reverse her triangle. Same thing, and I'm going to stay with her. There's nothing really you can do here, but just keep your, because most people, so the purpose of my hand there is so she's not like this, you know? I'm just providing a little bit of space. I'm just helping her create space by following her. And then exhale, windmill and twist. You can stay with her again. Inhale, plank. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Shoulders peel back. And then exhale, downward facing dog. I can follow her hips from the bottom and just help her lift. You're not really doing anything there. It's just a moment, and you can trace the neck. So we'll do on the left side, you can see. Inhale, left leg high. You guys in your hair. Do this before video.
For real-ish.
I know. And then warrior two. So I can do my lunge thing. Another one that I saw Demi do also in class, you know, I'm mirroring her. So I'm going to be like, relax your shoulders. Notice if you can bring your left knee above your front ankle so that your shin's parallel. Press into the outer edge of your right foot. Soften your gaze on your front middle finger. She won't do that if I'm talking to her. If I'm like, soften your gaze on your right middle finger, and I'm just looking at her, she's not going to do it. She's going to need to see me visually do it. A lot of people will. Because this is something you'll probably do with a new student. You know, if someone knows warrior two, they got it. You can tell them to relax the shoulders or do some alignment thingies.
Do I want my hips like, I'm like wondering, so I want my hips like ideally totally squared off?
So warrior two is really tricky because no one really ideally can, I mean,
Because I feel like
you
my
can also use your hip here and just hold and spiral with the top of her rib cage open. And following her breath is so important. Inhale, reverse triangle. And then exhale, windmill and twist. How did that feel?
beautiful.
Okay, so then she's at the top and she's doing her balancing series. All of that stuff. And she's doing her crow pose. You're going to let her do that. You can come next to the person and mirror and be like, palms, hug your forearms, place the knees. You know, you can do it with them if that's going to help the student who has no idea what crow pose looks like. You can talk them through it, mirroring, or you can face them. Either way, but I think it's good to do it right next to them. And then they're in their downward facing dog, then what's next? Who knows?
Triangle series.
Okay. Inhale, right leg high. Oh yeah, chair pose, good. Yeah. Let's do chair pose. So, depending on which one you're doing, if you're just doing this one, you know, you can tell her to reach to the fingertip, but they're pretty much on their own. But if they're doing hands to heart, twist, left elbow hooks. Just coming up to the student, big toes in touch, their knees are aligned. Just helping them figure out what you're talking about, bringing their knees together. And then this one's like a super workout for the teacher. You come, you say, like, I'm coming, I have to come low enough, but I'm not going to tell her to sit on me completely. And then it's the same thing as an extended side angle. I'm just applying pressure from her in between her shoulder blades, and then I'm wrapping her rib cage open.
That's nice.
And creating length, so I'm applying pressure forward, away from me, and then wrapping towards me. So lengthening the spine, and then twisting the spine. And then I'm going to go take one more breath in. And then we go exhale, forward fold, and I'm going to release. And I'm going to let her fold right away, because usually she's about to collapse by then. And then we can do inhale, neutral spine. You can stay, well, if you did that with on the first side, you'll stay with her for the next side. Exhale, fold. Bend your knees, inhale, chair pose. Exhale, wrap and twist. So I come, I create my seat. I gotta get really low. I place my hands just barely there, lengthening and wrapping. lengthening and wrapping. Another thing would be, you're right here with her, so tell her to relax her shoulders. See if you can sit a little bit lower. If you tell her that, you gotta sit lower. Your legs are on fire also. Exhale, forward fold, sit bones to the sky, boom.
Boom, baby.
That's like a really hard one. You have to want it.
I'm sweating.
I know, you're making me sweat. Okay, just come behind them. And I'm gonna make sure that her heels stack. So I'm using my foot. So that could be all that I do, but then I can also lengthen her arms. But I wanna make sure her shoulders are soft so that I'm not lifting her shoulders up. I'm using the length in the arms, but I'm keeping her shoulders grounded. Peace, Fallon. And then sometimes people, if you want to tell them to hit their rib cage in, you can just pressure points are really, really good. And strong legs. And that's probably a lot. Even just standing here is a lot. Can you see that I'm using the top of my foot to lift her heel? You can also just stand here like this as well. Or you could just stand here like this. And then you do the same thing. You could use the calf thing like that so that her knee is above her ankle if it's not. Okay, and then exhale, warrior two. Oh no, sorry. Yeah. Is it? Yeah, sorry. Inhale, length. Sorry, some people might have their knee on the floor. You would only do this one if she was already had her leg up. So I come and I have to get pretty low, and I'm pretty close also to her crotch. Yeah. Is that on video? And the same thing as the chair twist. So I have her whole belly in my hand. I'm holding her belly. And I'm like, she's breathing a lot. And then I'm just using my other hand to lengthen. I'm just sending energy forward to her crown. Because you're going to tell her, pull your chest forward. Exhale, wrap your heart to the sky. Inhale, create more length. Exhale, press your palms into your heart. And like you can feel how much deeper she's going. The things to pay attention to here, I know, is that you're not making her right hip drop to the floor. You have to make sure that you're not forcing anything because your student's going to go as deep as you'll let them go. So you have to make sure that you keep her hips squared. So in other words, if I'm like this with her, I'm like, yeah, that's like upside down, her twist looks so good. Boom. So I have to make sure that I'm staying here and keeping her hips level. Pay attention to that. And then stepping off. And then she goes into our half splits. Half splits you could just do like a nice shoulder rub if you wanted to do something. Tell them where they're feeling the stretch and relaxing tension in the neck. You can stay with someone, and say like, inhale for length and exhale, soften. And do it again, come down to her belly, inhale, lengthen, exhale, mount your forehead. And just give her some rubs there. And the arm stuff is always really good. I think you guys are all doing that. Armpits are really good too, which you wouldn't think.
You
But
gave
like,
me a nice armpit massage.
yeah, armpit massages are really nice, and it's kind of touching your boobs as well, so the girls really like it. You all like it, don't pretend like you don't. Okay, and then she comes up to inhale, rock forward. Tuck your toes and float your back knee. She comes into a warrior two. And then inhale, straighten your front leg, shift your hips. Exhale, triangle pose. Your main thing you're going to see in every single class is the person who's like leaning all the way down like this. And just a really, really easy adjustment is like, just reach towards the sky and you help them lift up a little bit. And exhale, stay grounded, wrap your ribcage open. And I'm just holding her here, but she's still using a lot of strength in her core. And I have my back here supporting her so that she feels me, that she's not going to topple over. Because in triangle pose, it's really a hard balancing pose as well. So I'm just creating space here, and I'm telling her to reach towards the ceiling before she's going to touch the floor. So go into like your worst triangle pose, like you'd be all the way down. So how many people like are going to be like collapsed forward and just like touching the floor? Because that's what they think. So I would just come up here, and I'd like touch the sky, and I would help her, and then I would hold her in place where I thought she should be close to. And then make sure her ribcage don't flare open. She's using her core. Both of her legs are strong. And then you can inhale, rise. So here I was just wrapping her thighs open. And then adjusting your feet, hands to heart. Heels in, toes out. Inhale, 5-pointed star. Most of the time you're going to be hearing this. You can come behind the person. That was big. You can come behind the person, just like getting expansive. You just want them to get expansive, but you want to make sure that they're keeping their core engaged so they're not dumping weight into their lower back. So core is strong, lengthen, lift up. Exhale, arms to the horizon, adjust the feet. Then she folds into Prasarita. And the first one, most traditional one that you'll mostly do is the same exact as gorilla. Walking underneath her so she can see my ugly toes. And using my knees, pigeon toeing depending on the height difference in the body. And then using the palms, not your fingers, to wrap. So I'm wrapping her thighs towards me. And then I'm applying pressure with my knees as well. Barely pressure. Not pressure, I'm applying stability. So I'm just like lengthening towards me and then just like a gentle pull. And she can feel my knees the whole time so she doesn't. And if you need to readjust your knees, do so. You know, keep your hands really grounded and one at a time, adjust your knees so because she might have more space to fold. You can feel where they're gonna go right in between the shoulder blades. You don't want to be directly on the shoulder blades. There's a little pocket. Does that feel good right there?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like spreading my shoulder blades apart, which is
Yeah.
nice, and it creates space for my neck.
Good neck. Another one would just be a neck rub. And then the shoulder stretch you can only really do with someone who's like really open shoulders so that they can interlace their fingers. Yeah. Because I mean, you can still do this and come to the person and give them a neck rub like this. But if someone has their knuckles like that closed, you can use one hand here and one hand here, and it's like a ridiculous stretch. So you barely have to do anything. You're just holding them in that space. Their breath is the only thing that can move deeper in this because they're already feeling a ton of sensation across their chest. But it's awkward to do if someone's hands are like this. Most of our hands are like that. I mean, so otherwise you probably would just come into here, do this, and do that neck rub if you were going to do it like that. Because if they're like that, their fingers will probably break, and it's like doesn't feel good for them, or you're like, oops, sorry. I'm gonna still like you, but. Okay, Prasarita, she goes into runner's lunge. So runner's lunge, you would either just do, you know, if you haven't been to someone on both sides, you just give them the shoulder rub. You guys are all great at that. You can do both hands or just one hand. Something to pay attention to is when you're doing just one hand, your thumb's not as strong as the rest of your four fingers. So if you're just doing that, you know, switch it up too, so they have it even. If their knees on the floor, this is like my favorite one to do, using the palm. Think about creating space between their rib cage and their thigh. And I'm not like pulling it open at all because if you're in runner's lunge, you're already feeling a lot again. So I'm just holding the space open for her. And I'm gently pulling her thigh towards, like wrapping her thigh open. And I'm just holding my hand on her rib cage. Most of the hand is in my lap, is in the hand on the thigh. And I'll stay here with that. And again, like I said, like I like to keep my hands present. So if I want to do the neck rub afterwards, I'll usually crawl my hands up. But you don't have to do that. Like you could just do this and be about to leave, and then just give her a cute little like, love you. People like that love you thing. Any questions? Runner's lunge is a really good one. You just have to be really cautious of how sensitive people are here.
It's after pigeon.
Yep.
Okay, you guys are all nailing pigeons,
Oh,
so
yes,
I
yeah.
don't feel like you really need to do it, but starting at the feet is really, really nice. And you could just do that. You know, if you went around to 5 different people and just rubbed their left foot for like 30 seconds, that'd be an awesome way to engage with like a lot of students in one class. Sometimes it's hard, you have like 10 friends, you're like, I want to touch all of you all at the same time. So if you just focus on 5 feet, that'd be beautiful. But if you're gonna stick with this person and you did start at the foot, then you could crawl your way up to the calf. Calves are really, really sensitive. You wanna make sure you're not squeezing too hard and you're not pushing down. Just like little squeezes. And you're crawling, you're crawling, you're crawling. And then you come, and then I want you to work on the stance, because this is like a really like intimate pose. I mean, I sometimes do this, but it's really, really nice when you do get down really low with your student. Another thing that feels amazing, when they feel your knee here, it's like another point of contact that they're like, whoa, how is she doing this? Touching me in so different ways, so many different points. So just using your knee here to pull her left hip away and move her left hip forward and out, and then you're pulling her right hip back. The whole point is to bring her left hip forward, and this right hip is back.
Is your knee on her butt?
No, my knee's on the floor. She can feel my knee here, and I'll use it a little bit. Only with someone that you'd like really know, because you're literally right there. So yeah, I'm right here and I'm really close. Sometimes you can use your foot here too, which is really nice.
Who did that?
So she's like all sorts of touch right now, and I haven't even started using my hands. So she probably already feels good, you know? And another point of contact would be my foot on her calf, and just continue to create space. Now I'm like all up in her business. You don't have to be that up. That's just one way you could start. Otherwise, just being here with her. Again, the knee is really, really nice. And you're really just, you guys are all doing a really good job. The wrapping and the creating space and not the downward pressure. You know, so I'm pulling her right hip back and pressing her left foot forward, and then tracing these muscles. She's feeling the stretch. You know, that's where you want to be attentive to, where she's feeling the sensation. You're kind of just here for like a distraction, to be like, this is amazing. And you totally notice the difference when you go to Justin and have pigeon when you didn't. You're like, damn, I could stay in here for 20 minutes and really sink into it. And then using your hands around her torso is really nice. Moving into the shoulders. Same exact thing as child's pose. You don't want to be applying pressure down here. Even though, like I said, it's going to feel good, but you're pushing her nose into the floor. So just tracing her neck. Another nice thing I used to do all the time is just tracing the shoulder blades and keeping your left hand on her hip, because this is the point of it, her hips. This is all just feel good, you know? But like tracing her shoulder blades feels really, really good. But make sure that one hand is at least serving a purpose at a time for your touch. And sometimes that means really nice to be near her heart. So that you're not pushing her face in. And then another great adjustment that you can do to multiple people is if you just hold. You know, if I just hold the space and forget all the wrapping, and I'm just pushing, I'm helping her left foot forward and slightly pulling her right hip back. And I just hold here for like 5 or 10 breaths, and I can do that, not that many breaths, 5 breaths with like 2 different people. But I think half pigeon's a really nice one to spend that whole time with that student, because that student deserves it. And I mean, I know I do it, we all do it. You tend to choose your pigeon people, but try and give everyone pigeon, because it's like the best gift you can give people. If a guy's in it and he's super uncomfortable, you'll offer him the supine version, and you just rub on his shoulders and be like, hey, I know this sucks, but you're gonna make it. Because like for some people, this is not fun. A lot of us is like, oh yeah, this is good. But like some guys are like pretty miserable. So that would just be, I think, like a moment to be here with them, rather than like trying to like move them deeper. They don't need to get any deeper. Okay, so that's her pigeon. Exhale, soften. And then I get to give her a foot rub, you know, and I tell her to look to the right. Left cheek on the mat, her arms are heavy. Then I can go all the way up to her legs and give her an awesome leg massage. Sometimes, if you notice, like if Jill was in my class and I know she doesn't care about doing shit, I'd be like, hey, just stay here, you know, and I would give her a massage through the whole spinal series, you know, and I would still be talking to my students because I'm down here, like on her legs, and like she loves it, and she's just chilling. She'll notice, switch her neck. You wouldn't do that to like someone you didn't know, but like someone that you do, and you know that they're down to get massaged rather than get their bow on. Like, hey babe, just chill. And they'll be like, okay, you're giving me a foot rub. And then for locust pose, a couple options. Chin to the mat, palms face down, exhale the breath. I don't know how this one feels, so you can tell me. Inhale, lift your arms and legs. What I would do is from the shins, just barely pull back and keeping them lifted. I'm just helping her, like, but I'm barely doing anything. She's firing. I'm just there so she can't give up. And then I take one more breath in. And then as I exhale, soften. And I follow her all the way down to the floor. And then I give her that really nice breath again. And then the other one that we've done, like, hey babe, grab my calves. And this one I've learned a lot. You have to know this person's practice, because I'll be here and then this girl's like heads in my crotch and like, oh, you're that kind of back bender. And that's when it gets really awkward. So figure that out first. So inhale, lift up. And so I can always walk my calves back, my feet back. And then I'm gonna use my hands, collarbones, lengthening, lifting. She can go really high using me as leverage, but she just lost leverage. So I can walk back even more. I think it was you that I did this to. It was. Okay, so see how far back I have to go for her? And I'm just leaning into my calves. And then I say, take one more breath in. And then exhale all the way down. Start to bend my knees. And I follow her completely, because she just had a huge back bend. And then I'm massaging her shoulders and definitely massaging her lower back. The other one would just be to do the same thing, just not use the calves. The calves are great because she has so much leverage and she can really get into the back bend. Light-headed. Let's do bow. So bow, the first really easy one, if you just have like a breath to be with that person, is you'd be like, once she's in, you'd be like, hug your knees. You could come up here then. Using your whole hands, you want to make sure you're supporting her foot and her hand, because she doesn't want to feel like she's going to fall. And then I'm using my knees to hug her knees in. And I'm lifting up, but not too much. This is already, she's already created her shape. I'm just here to 4 hands, I want to massage you. She sometimes likes it. Does that feel good? Okay. What's next after the spine strengthening series?
Forward fold.
Forward fold. Let's do that. Good one. It's like my favorite adjustment to give. You have to be super attentive to people's breath. I know you know when you're going into it, like your inhale is the only thing that's going to carry you further. Otherwise, you're just going to be smushing yourself, and it's not going to feel good in your back. So she's going to go. I'm going to give her like at least 3 breaths to get into whatever expression she wants to be in. And then once she's settled in, you could always just do a back rub. But it's really nice when you come and you crouch behind her. And I'm going to use my thighs to hug her. So now I have my hands again. You're just like trying to use your body as much as you can so that it just feels really, really good. So she has that. And then I'm going to, either watch her breath or I'm going to tell her, like, take a breath in. I'm going to, like you were saying, like, lengthen, lifting her belly, her ribcage. And then as I say exhale to fold, I'm going to start leaning slowly. And then take another breath in with your inhale. And then exhale, melt. And depending on how far you want to go with this check, you can keep going. And I'm just going to follow her breath. I could stay here. This already probably feels pretty good. And just give her a shoulder rub. See how sexual it is? Awkward. But you're going to go, so I'm just going to keep following her. And then like every exhale, I'm using a little bit more of my belly. And I'm slowly leaning on her. And like how, depending on how far you go with this person, you could be like completely on top of them. I feel bad because she's so little.
Yeah, I'm doing jet ski reading this one.
No.
Why not?
I'm all about that.
So I could stay here with her. So I'm going to use my hands on her back. And I'm just as attentively as I went in, I'm going to peel my belly off of her. And over here. And then I can stay with her and be like, reach your arms to the sky. Yes. And then exhale your hands to the floor. And I leave.
Jonathan did an amazing one on me when I was in this. He put his knees like on my butt,
Yeah.
like there, and used that to push. And it was for a guy, not like pumping me.
Okay, that's
the
good.
knees were like right there.
Okay, so same thing, using the knees, no strap. But same thing. Cool, good. Got that, Jeff?
Check.
Check. The other one that's amazing too, you just probably wouldn't have as much time, is you do back to back with my chick. And then just folding. And then I would do like the crab walk kind of sort of thing. And then again, like, just following her breath, I'd start to apply more of my back. And then I can sit here and hang out.
Do you do these in your classes?
No, I'm gonna do this one.
Ashley did that to me in her classes.
This is amazing. It feels really good for me too.
This is such a cute.
Your knees to make sure that their chest is still lifted, so they're not rounding. You can also just use like one foot here, like that. You know, plank, or I really want to help them. I want to make sure they're using strength. But just like a couple like key points. Be here, here, and then exhale all the way down. You could be here so that they can't just like go all the way down. Make them work for it. And stay with them, and then she pulls her. What she did now?
Serena.
When removing.
Yeah. When removing pose.
Wait, do they do Savasana first?
Happy
or
baby.
after?
Thank
Happy
you.
baby first.
Good teamwork. Okay, happy baby. Whose favorite? Have you guys been doing this one?
Oh, when you like put your knees.
Yeah, that. So you're like, hey girl, can I just do this? And she's like, sure. Like, okay. So I'm like, 1, 2. And then you're like,
say it exactly like
so my knees approach her thighs, and like she's probably feeling a lot already. Nice pressure, okay? Yeah. So then I can use my hands on the soles of her feet, and if we want, we can rock. And if I decide she wants more, then I can get resourceful using my hands here. And I'm like, now how's the pressure? And then here, I'm gonna look at her and I'm gonna breathe with her.
soul gaze.
And then when I'm about to leave my girl, I'm gonna be like, probably take my strongest point off of her first, on my knee, and then my hands, and like put her knees together.
I'm sure you get some love too, remember?
She just starts to get Savasana.
Thank you.
Thanks, babe.
Get ready.
I'm into that. Was that good for happy baby? Do you guys get that? Using the hands, you have to make sure that you are like super engaged with that student and making sure that they're not like this, they're not like this. Like the best thing you'll notice when you're about to give someone adjustment is if say they're like this, just for example in supine twist, and they're like this, and then the next moment they're like this. That means they just surrendered to you and they trust you. Like they trust you that you're not gonna hurt them, and that like that from that moment on they're just breathing. But if like you notice any sign of like resistance or like anything, you either need to verbally communicate, like is the pressure okay, or back off. Like even like the twitches, you know, you have to be really careful of the skin. It's really hard. Like doing hot yoga adjustments is so easy, but you have to be so careful that you're not dragging people's skin. That's like the worst.
It's the
I'm
worst.
sure you've
It's
all
been
had it.
happening to me a lot lately. Like I've been getting adjustments, and that's been happening too much.
Yeah, we don't want that. You don't want to be that skin dragger person.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
The Indian rug burn.
Yeah. So mindful of that. Okay, so then for women removing pose, so just cute. Wait, just do women removing. Yeah. So using one hand here, just to keep her hip grounded, and one hand here, and like kind of pulling, but you're just like you're here. Use your body weight, and then I'm gonna push her knee towards her armpit. Not push. Push is the back. I'm gonna guide. Guide. So I'm guiding her knee towards her armpit, and I'm just keeping this hand grounded. Does that feel good? And again, I'm gonna follow her breath. You can see her breath in her belly. So cool. And then I'll go exhale, supine twist, and follow her. So nice. Couple things here. You can stay seated. Just do it here. Use your left hand. That's the best. Like the shoulder pressure is the best. The rest they can do with their breath. You can barely do it. Stay away from this. No. Someone, I don't know who it was, but did a supine twist on me, and it was like they were pulling my spine up, and that didn't feel good. So you're creating length. You want her spine to be long, and then you're just like guiding the twist, but her breath is guiding the twist. You're just like there. Your hand is there, so like all this stuff, your hand on your shoulder is going to be the most important. Hand on both shoulders, amazing. This one is good. So I step in. You can't do it to all people. And I use my left foot to keep her hip in place. And then my hand on her. And then she's breathing. And I'm just following her breath. Like barely doing anything, right? You can do the tracing of the spine, which is really nice. But just make sure that you're not pulling. So you're not pulling up. You're creating length by drawing away. But you're keeping her shoulder rounded. So pulling away from her shoulder to create length. And then let her exhale, guide the twist, you just follow. You can create length, but they're gonna do like the depth. Does that make sense? So this is like a really easy adjustment to do, and it's the best. Okay? Over here. Just here, you can use your like here. You'll notice a lot of people will stop breathing, so you can. So, okay, well, just pay attention to. Sometimes it sucks. You want to give your best friend Savasana, but she's in the back row and her head's all the way towards the wall. Don't even try. It's just going to be awkward. You're going to be like, that's it. Does this feel good, girl? So that just doesn't look good, feel good. So you can play with your feet. So just pay attention to your body language. It's so nice to come and like sit, and you'll give her a really nice Savasana. Your hands. You do have a lot more body weight to use when you're here, and then like on your knees, because then you can lean a little bit more. But if you're just doing like a really grounded, loving one, I think it's like for some reason a lot more like intimate to be here, seated with her, and you can spend a lot of time here because you're gonna be comfortable. You do it on the other side for sure, creating light of love. And then you'll come back to neutral, and I'm still holding her head a lot. And then you can massage your face, it's really nice. Turn on our triangle. Your ears, all points of your ears are really, really nice, especially the lobes. And then don't forget, your feet are still on her. I wouldn't move them around too much, I'm just like keeping them. Like it feels weird. You can
Creepy toes.
Yeah.
No creepy toes.
Creepy toes. So I'm just like cupping her shoulders with the soles of my feet.
I throw in 2 pieces of.
Oh my god, will you please?
So the 2 things I watch for in Savasana when you're sort of relaxing is you can never err by going too slow. So nothing jostling, because I noticed I've gotten some great Savasana and they're good, but maybe it's just moving just a tiny bit too quick, so it's more stimulating than relaxing. So it's maybe just something for me personally. I always take my towel with me because even as instructors we get hot and sweaty, and I try and not sweat on the person if you're over the top of them, because that's if you're leaning over them and like that little bead down the nose and like
They'll feel it and then they'll smile, they'll be like, "Hee."
yeah, but really inside they're like, hey.
Okay, and what Jeff did to me last night, which was so nice, you know how we always do, and I know what you said, you were like, I just put my hand on your heart. But we're usually a little shy when we put our hand on our heart, and it's like up here, but he like went for it and like put his thumb, I don't know what you did, but it was like really, really nice, and he like went in between my boobs, and it felt so good. Yeah, he did that. So, just keeping these things in mind, like, yes, that's already going to be a beautiful moment to share with your student, your hand on their heart, but like, it just felt really, and then no one had ever done it to me before.
Really?
Yeah. So
Well, I
it
know
was really
you well
nice.
enough that
Yeah.
that'll come.
So just think about that. And then when you're going to take your feet off of her, it's like, okay, and then I'm like, making sure that it's like a purposeful movement. I'm not just like here, and then I'm done. Especially anything you do in Savasana, stay present for an extra breath when you're done. That's like an amazing gift to give someone. Like, let it be a moment and sit there. Sometimes I do it. You run off to go change the music, or it doesn't always happen, but if you have the space to do it, it's really nice.
Did you like the feet? And once your ankle bones, your medial malleolus is in front of their ears, you kind of tuck your ankles in to brace their head right here, and you don't do it too hard. And then it's a shoulder opening over your feet. Does that feel nice? So we do that a lot on the floor.
but you're just literally pressing into the floor. Okay. And you're just kind of pressing into the floor, so you're opening, but it's not a lot. So by placing your feet into there, you're giving yourself a little bit of leverage. And then you can kind of press down and out, which should help stretch the pectoralis minor. And then you come out. It's just a little bit of a lift, and you just kind of slowly slide your way out. So you didn't really feel too disturbed, did you?
I'm
Okay,
just
that was really nice. This girl's gonna, or him, I'd probably start below the knees, but pay attention to the knees. Like, give the knees the love, and just work your way down, like through the calves, ankles, and feet. And just finishing on the feet is really, really nice. Once you've touched someone's feet, you probably don't want to touch their face. I know like most of us probably wouldn't complain about it, but just something to keep in mind. Feet to face, rather, face to feet. So doing that, and like trace is really nice at the end, like la la la. I always like to go try and time with the music, like